expect spoilers. Don't worry about that. Oh, no, it's just me. Okay, there's the music. Oh, you didn't hear anything. I need to turn up my sound display a little bit. There we go. That should sound a little bit better. How is everyone doing today? Hello, everyone. No, not that one. There we go. This one. Hello. No, music, come back. Oh, also, that was really loud. Sorry. Wait, where'd the music go? Dang it. No, let me get my music. Is that it? There it is. There's the music. I need to get like some like terrible like jazzy music for the background of this, like hello everybody, how is everyone doing this fine afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is for everybody? Alexis, you're doing horrible. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that sucks. Everyone seems to be getting sick again now. Like I was sick what, 2 months ago? Some month ago? Time has gone by. But I've been sick, so I was sick, and I have a few friends that are sick now. So Alexis Edits, I can bet that that you're feeling sick. So I hope you're feeling better. I'm sending you heart Alexis Edits. So by the way, just to let everyone know 2 things. First, let's do the thing to say hi to everybody. Miss Wicked Wolf, Stephen Fenn, Dudarum, good to see you. Listen the Pagan, Corey, good to see you. Joshua, Jennifer, Cappuccino Crest, Nevermore, Read M10. Someone awesome. Diana, hopefully good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry you can't stick around. Corey, I'm sorry you can't stick around tonight, but I send you love as well, and send love to Vale as well. Sending love to you both. Good to see you, Molly, Rowan, James, this random person, good to see you. Hey, Council Vera, good to see you in the chat. It's been a hot minute since I've seen you in the chat, other than when you come into the watch-alongs over on Patreon. But good to see everyone. Oh, Cappuccino Craft, sending you a big virtual hug. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that really sucks for Cappuccino Crafts. I've definitely been there. I'm sending you a big hug, Cappuccino Crafts. Hey, Super Femi, worst everything. Good to see you as well. I hope everyone is all doing well this fine and lovely evening. But also, I just want to get this out of the way so I can say this, because I know some people were going to ask about this. I told my patrons that today was going to be the day that Lucian, one of my best friends, in fact, my best friend, and my new editor on a bunch of my videos, he was going to be appearing in this stream. Unfortunately, just because we weren't able to connect about what we were going to do and everything like that and how it was going to be all set up, he will be coming on. The plan is next weekend. So, next week, Thursday. So, next week, Thursday, Lucian, my editor and best friend, is going to be on the stream. We'll probably talk about something. Maybe we'll pick a topic beforehand, but I'll have him and on the stream, and he and I will hang out, and we'll have a lot of fun. And you finally get to meet Lucian, which I've been wanting to have all of you meet Lucian for a while now. To be honest with you, I've been wanting to have him come on and actually say hello to everybody. So and also just to prove that I didn't just make him up. He's a real human who exists and who I am friends with. So I'll have him on. Hopefully, it should be next week. You never know what happens between now and then, but more than likely it should be next week. So that is currently the plan. That's what I'm hoping happens. Lucian is actually the American Shield in the background. Read M10. Okay, so with that out of the way, I just want to say, for those of you who don't know, if you're new to this stream, you're new to what this is or what I do on this stream, this is just my weekly chat stream every single week. We sit down, I talk about whatever all of you want to talk about, whether it's, you give me a topic, things like that. If you do super chats, I give you a big heart. Super chats help me pay the bills. They help me, they help me just, survive and that sort of thing. So super chats are greatly appreciated, and obviously I answer your question. I give you a heart for super chats. But beyond that, we just hang out and talk about what all of you want to talk about. So yeah, that's what's going on here today. So what does everyone wish to talk about today? Let's see. I'm just imagining him behind a screen in silhouette teasing us with Come hither gestures. Yeah, that'll be Lucian. What I'll do is I'll have him on the thing, but he'll like only be speaking in like a computerized voice, and you'll still all be curious whether Lucian is an actual human being who exists or not. Is Lucian secret? Yeah, Lucian is secretly Newt. No, yes, Lucian's the Zodiac Killer. That's it. That's it. Lucian is secretly the Zodiac Killer. My YouTube name is Josh. My true name is Kiki. Life is pain. Joshua. Kiki. I'm so sorry. I will make sure to try and keep that in mind, Kiki, in future if I encounter your name. Obviously, sometimes I might screw it up just because memory is awful, especially when I'm like looking at a name. But Kiki, I will do my best to make sure to remember that. So love you, Kiki. Sending you love. Sending you all the love, Kiki. Ooh. Wait, Jimmy Clayton's gonna play Pinhead in Hellblazer? That's actually gonna be a thing? Cause that's all. If that's true, that's awesome. Oh, that is perfect. I love that. Oh, that just came out today. I totally missed that. Oh, that is wonderful. For those of you who don't know, Jamie Clayton is the actress who played Nomi over on Sense8. I freaking love. I love Jamie Clayton. She did such a fantastic job on that show. One of my favorite shows of all time, and she's one of my favorite characters in that show. So I adore her, and she's gonna be. Oh, she'll be a great Pinhead. She'll be like a trans Pinhead. Awesome. I'm here for that. I am very here for that. For the leather fetish demon monsters. I am here for that. I am really here for that. That is actually very, very cool. Also, good to see more trans representation in all things. So that's always great. She's a great actress too. You don't see her, sadly. You don't see her enough because she's just absolutely great. She's absolutely great. I did hear about the Agatha Harkness spinoff from WandaVision. I'm curious what the Agatha Harkness, Knit and Crochet Tiger, I should say. I'm curious what the Agatha Harkness show is going to end up being. Because, like, I don't know much about Agatha Harkness in the comics, but I do know that she's actually kind of like a hero, I believe, an anti-hero character. So it's not surprising that they were going to go in that direction, and they definitely set her up to come back after WandaVision. So I knew she was going to come back in some form. I thought she was going to be a villain in something, but to give her own series seems to make sense to me. I mean, she definitely was popular with everybody. I think mostly off of well, to be fair, I didn't like her character all that much in the show. Well, that's wrong. I liked her character. I did not think she worked in the plot of WandaVision all that much. I don't think she was particularly well utilized in that plot. I think she could have just not existed in that plot and actually been better if Wanda was just the villain. But that being said, I did like her and I love the actress's portrayal of her. So I'm down to see more of her. And I'm curious because I don't know much about Agatha Harkness from the comics. So I'm curious to see how they develop her. Because I think there's stuff there. I think you can make an interesting sort of anti-hero type show from her. So I definitely think that that's definitely possible. For sure. Definitely for sure. And I see a super chat. J-Lord, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. You are lovely and very much appreciated. I'm looking at my own country, and unlike the U.S., having had free healthcare and education for decades, has actually strengthened the comfort with capitalism. Welfare is a step away from socialism. So, J-Lord, you keep posting in here. You seem to be very pro-capitalism, which this is not, and I'm not insulting you, but I don't think that capitalism is going to be a thing that is ultimately good. I mean, it forces us to try to be selfish, capitalism will never err on the side of doing the right thing. It's always about what's going to give you more power and more money. And sometimes the right thing can be the thing that gets you more money, but it's typically not. And typically it means exploiting people, exploiting workers, exploiting just the basic functions of how we live. And it encourages us to not wish to help each other, but wish to figure out how much we want to get out of somebody, like how we think about our healthcare system, for example. Like, we we are forced to not just help people, but charge an inordinate amount of money just to give people basic life-saving needs. I think we should be thinking less about, like, capitalism and thinking more about mutual aid and things like that, and like how we give things without actually, like, because the whole idea of capitalism is built on this idea of owing something. We all owe something for something. And I don't believe that that's how we should ever really think about something. Like, we can think about that in some thing, shape, or form, but I think we give things to people because, like, why do we give gifts to each other? Because we care about each other. Why do we give gifts at Christmas, sort of thing? It's just like we should be thinking about how we give things to others, not for any self-benefit, but because we just want to care about each other, because that's what we would want people to do for us. And so I think that that's sort of the whole thing, like building something that's not built on this idea of debt. So let me make it clear. Like, there are certainly problems with how certain systems have set up socialism, and definitely communism and things like that in certain countries like China and things like that. Chinese government is very totalitarian and awful. So don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think the systems that have been set up are perfect, but that's because I think there's people in power who take advantage of it, and not that the idea necessarily is not good, of like socialism or communism or things like that, but that you need to mix it in with things like anarchism, like the idea that power structures need to justify themselves, to think about like how we think about leadership in a different way, and how we structure power in a different way. Because I do think that power ultimately, I do believe in the idea that power corrupts to a degree. I know people say that power reveals, but I think that, you know, once you get to a certain amount of money, you start to have to justify and want to justify your, basically, human beings, we don't like to think of ourselves as bad people, right? And so once we hit a certain level of power and things like that, it's like we start to justify, like, oh, well, I deserve this. I deserve this money. I deserve, like, it's just a natural human thing for people to do. You know what I mean? I think it's just natural for people to think that way once they get to a certain level of power, saying, I deserve this. You know, you have to a degree, in order to, like, hold that much power over people, to think that you are doing good, even when you maybe not, or probably not, most likely not. And so I think that that's why, like, power is ultimately something we need to think differently about how and when we give people power, how people hold on to power, things like that. So that's my little rant, J-Lord, from your super chat. So thank you for the super chat, even though I kind of disagreed with your statements there. But thank you. I really do appreciate the super chats. So let's see. Finally got pumpkin spice here in the UK. Yes, pumpkin spice. By the way, I almost wore my pumpkin spice shirt. I almost wore my pumpkin spice shirt today, but I instead wore, if you notice, this is the Dr. T'Ana Kitty Starfleet thing from Star Trek Lower Decks. Remember Dr. T'Ana getting in the box and being an adorable kitty. So yeah, so that's yeah. So I think that's I think it's a really cute shirt, and I love that shirt. J Lord, hard again to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. You said, I'm not pro the American style of capitalism, but pro a mixed economy, and Australia has strong unions, the highest minimum wage on earth, and free healthcare and education. For sure. That's great. And I do think that, like, a mixture of things is better. I don't think anyone has the perfect answer to it. And again, I am not the best person to talk fully on, like, anti-capitalism. There's probably people you can talk to about more specifics on it. But what I will say is I do know Australia does have a few other problems too. Like, Australia does have a fairly restrictive, a lot of censorship that goes on in Australia, for example. I know Australia doesn't allow, like, a lot of video games and TV and movies to come over into Australia. So I'm not saying, like, I'm not saying that's perfect or anything either. I think that there's a conversation to be had on that sort of thing. So for sure, I do think American-style capitalism is probably the worst, or close to the worst style of capitalism that there is. Like, just the idea that we need to drain every cent out of every single person and drain every moment of work out of every single person. But for sure, I just don't think capitalism as on a whole is a great concept. So, Jedi Indiana Jones, you heading out? Oh, who's heading out? Someone said bye, Indiana Jones. I didn't know you were leaving. Well, it's good to see you, Jedi Indiana Jones, if you're leaving, or Bad Astro, whoever's heading out. So, oh yeah, Mildred over at Thought Slime is wonderful. I love Mildred over at Thought Slime. Mildred over at Thought Slime does great anti-capitalist stuff, and also is an anarchist as well. Let's see. Communism is when everyone is trans. Yes, I am here for that. I mean, I do tend to think that's another sort of rant I could go on to. I could go on to about like how I think transness is inherently like a concept that I think like we should be thinking less about like people are trans, like like your identity is trans, like people say I am trans specifically. I think we should be thinking more about transness as a concept that is like all of us are sort of deviating from certain expectations of society in many ways. And so you could talk about like how trans is inherently like a opening concept for how we sort of think about society and identity. I think that more people are trans than they realize if we start opening up the idea of trans as being going against expected gender norms, because no one fully adheres to all expected gender norms. I think it's less. I mean, obviously we need to talk about, and I'm seeing some super chats, so I'll get to them in just a second. But I think it's obvious. I think it's obviously we need to talk about trans people as a group of people that are oppressed. Like I am like being targeted, and like I am targeted in certain states and by certain laws for being trans. However, I do think like in a philosophical way, we can start to think about transness as a concept that is more applicable to like aspects of ourselves. Think about what aspects of you are trans, which aspects of you sort of go against expectations of your gender versus what aspects of ourselves are cisgender. Because like if you go with like me, my assignment at birth, I tend to be interested in video games. I tend to be interested in comic books and nerdy stuff like Star Trek. I've even had people tell me like, you're a girl that's interested in boy stuff sort of thing. And all that's nonsense. It's just societal expectations. I don't think that Star Trek or nerdy stuff or video games are inherently, you know, male or female thing or male or female interest. But that being said, the expectation on those things is an expectation placed onto gender, whether you're interested in these things or not. So in that way, one could even say that my interest in these nerdy things are considered cisgender. They align with what my expectation is of my gender norm and how I'm supposed to perform my gender. So I think that that's how we should be thinking about it in the long term. Sadly, that's more of a long-term aspiration, a long-term discussion. I think the more pertinent discussion today is more about like how trans people as a group of people are oppressed as like a political group and a societal group. So that's the more pertinent discussion we need to be having. However, I do hope we get to that discussion on a more day-to-day conversational level. It's something that happens in philosophy and, you know, science and things like that, but it's not something that's happening on a day-to-day level because I don't think we as a society are there yet. So it's just a thing that I think we should be thinking more about. Anywho. I saw a bunch of super chats, so I need to get to those really quickly. Chloe, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. It's always good to see you. Mwah. Just popped in to say hi. Just had dinner with my best friend, co-writer. We're about to see No Time to Die. Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited. I'm going to go see No Time to Die tomorrow. As much as he is what is it that M says? A sexist, misogynist dinosaur coming out of the Cold War or whatever. What she says that one in GoldenEye, I believe. Anywho, as much as James Bond is a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, I have loved Daniel Craig and I love James Bond movies. I have a lot of fun with them. Daniel Craig, I think, is a fantastic Bond. And I am honestly sad to see him go, and I'm excited that the reviews are saying that it goes out on a high note, if not the highest note. My Skyfall is probably my favorite. Skyfall is in my top 10 movies of all time, so like I don't think you're gonna top that, but I'm excited. Also Rami Malek as well. I always love Rami Malek, so I'm excited to see it. So it's good to Chloe. I hope you enjoy it. I'm seeing it tomorrow night. I'll be right there with you. I'm very pumped to see it. Stephen Fenn, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah. Sending you love. You said Owl House. Sorry, I just saw someone awesome saying Owl House. Bye. Like, who you talking about? Hootie? Bye. Hootie hoot hoot. Sorry, I enjoy doing Hootie's voice. Hootie's voice is a lot of fun for me. Anywho, Steven, your super chat said, "Hey, Jessie, just wanted to say I love your Lower Decks review, especially this week's. Keep up the good work." Oh, thank you so much, Steven. I really appreciate that. You were absolutely lovely. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil. I won't do any spoilers for people because I saw some people in the chat were worried about spoilers for Star Trek Lower Decks. So, zero spoilers on this end. What I will say about this week's Lower Decks is phenomenal. It is absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Like I said, I've been lucky enough for this season of Lower Decks to get episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks early. They sent them to me, and they sent me that episode like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've had to sit on it for weeks now with few people to talk to. And it is so good. It is honestly, I think that episode goes right up there as one of the best Star Trek episodes made. I think it is clever. It is dense. It feels like, if a normal Lower Decks episode feels like an entire episode of Star Trek condensed into 25 minutes, I don't know how they made it, but they made this episode feel like 2 episodes, like a 2-parter, condensed into 25 minutes. It is fantastic. I did rant and rave about it in my review for so long. I think it is fantastic. I think it is true classic. I think that it was smart, funny, clever, said something about Star Trek, commented on Star Trek, commented on the show, commented on how like science fiction is structured, commented on different cultures, said something new and expanded the Star Trek lore and universe. Was just actually saying something pertinent about today and certain things like about like how women are often told to be less emotional. I think like there's just so much in this latest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. If you are not watching Star Trek Lower Decks, and you are a Star Trek fan, you are doing yourself a disservice. I have said this a million times. I will say it again, especially after this episode. I cannot tell you how freaking passionate I am about the latest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. It is so insanely good. I wish I wasn't like keeping myself from giving spoilers right now, because I would rant for another hour about how good that episode was, about how much I adored that episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, and I cannot even. It is so good. It is so good. And this is coming from someone who's been a lifelong Star Trek fan, and I know that the modern Star Trek era has been controversial. I like it quite a bit, but I do have my issues with it. Lower Decks is my favorite Star Trek, especially of the modern era. I think it like. I put like Enterprise. My 3 favorite Star Treks are Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Lower Decks. Deep Space Nine I think is qualitatively the best Star Trek. Enterprise is my weird one that I love, that I know is bad at times and not qualitatively the best one, even though I do think it has some of the best episodes of Star Trek in it, especially in the latter seasons. But I know it's like the weird like redheaded stepchild of Enterprise, or of the Star Trek franchise, so I love it. And Lower Decks is right up there with those 2. I think it is smart, funny, clever. It gets my excitement. It speaks to me personally. I think it is also really, really clever and certain commentating on Star Trek. It is right up there with those two shows. And I would even like, if I'm being realistic, I would put Enterprise. If I'm like doing a qualitative list, I wouldn't even bring Enterprise into the conversation. It would be like Deep Space Nine or Lower Decks. I think are the 2 strongest Star Trek shows in my mind right now. Followed probably by Next Generation and then the original series. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Freaking love it. So I've ranted about I've ranted about the episode in a whole video. So if you want my review of that, I did a whole video ranting about how much I love Star Trek Lower Decks. Go check it out. I did that whole thing. So please check that out, because yeah, I did. I said my piece. I said my piece on the loveliness that is Star Trek Lower Decks. All right. Carlisle the Cinephile, heart to you. Good to see you, by the way. I know you said you were, I think, Carlisle, you said you had a hard week last week, so I want to send you a little bit of extra love, Carlisle. You said, work has been a horrendous nightmare. Can I get some inspiration to chat to get me through the last 2 hours? No, I'm sorry, Carlisle. I'm sorry you're stuck at work and horrendous. That sucks. I've been editing a bunch of stuff today, too. It's not the same work, obviously, but I've been editing all day, too, and it's been stressing me out. Speaking of which, so one second, let me fix Carlisle. Carlisle the Cinephile, I'm sending you love. You are absolutely wonderful. You are always a kind, amazing part of this community. I always adore having you here, Carlisle the Cinephile. I always adore seeing you in the chat so often, and you are absolutely lovely, and you will get through it. I'm sorry it's a crappy day, and I send you all the love. So sending you all the love, Carlisle the Cinephile. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You are wonderful and amazing, and I adore you. Unpredictable X loyalty. Apologies if I'm saying it wrong, but you just said, I found Jessie's channel a few days ago and I'm vibing with the Trekkiness. Well, awesome. Good to see you. Welcome to the community, my friend. It is absolutely wonderful to see you, you lovely, lovely human. Mwah. I send you all the love. Welcome to the community, my new friend. I'm glad to see you here. Catherine Lambeth says, nearly 2 weeks after surgery and finally feel ready to leave the house again. A pumpkin spice latte is first thing on the list. Hell yes, Catherine Lambeth. I'm glad you're doing, for those of you who don't know, Catherine Lambeth, who is a wonderful member of this community, recently got facial feminization surgery, which is something I'm going to be getting in, what is it, October, November, December, 4 months. 4 months and I get facial feminization surgery. I'm very excited. But she just got it a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, obviously, and is healing up well. So I'm very glad. I'm very excited for you, Kathleen and Beth. So sending you love. Mwah. I hope that you are doing well, and get that pumpkin spice latte. Be your basic white girl. Be your basic white girl. Release your inner basic white girl. Let's see. Ulysses the Pagan, you said your feelings on what if. Sorry, I also saw someone else's comment. Someone asked me about Midnight Mass. I did see Midnight Mass. I love Midnight Mass. I will definitely. I will probably film a review for on my secondary channel. What I'm planning on doing. This is something I just want to answer this question because it's something that I want to put out here for my own self. I'm actually writing 3 big videos right now about Star Trek, and I already have a few big Star Trek videos in the can right now. I have a Star Trek video that I'm going to be doing on trauma and LGBTQ, using the Borg as a reference for LGBTQ trauma. And then last night, or the past few days, I just started writing a script about sex in Star Trek. I thought it was going to be one video, but I ended up writing about sex in Star Trek and sex representation in Star Trek and horniness in Star Trek. And where I'm at right now is 15 pages. And I realized that 15 pages is literally only the first video. So there's going to be 2 videos on sex in Star Trek. And then from that, I'm going to stop, because I have a bunch of Star Trek content lined up. And from there, I'm going to slow down on some of the Star Trek videos and focus on other things, just to expand out. I'm not, just because I want to do a lot of Star Trek stuff. Don't worry, I will always do Star Trek stuff, but I want to expand out on that a little bit. So I will be doing some more stuff, and I bring that up in the case of Midnight Masses, then yes, I will probably do a video on Midnight Mass. I also want to do a video on masculinity in Ted Lasso. So that will also be a thing that I will be doing. So I'm very excited about all that stuff. So that's all going to be coming up in the near future. I hope you all enjoy it. But the sex and Star Trek one's going to be it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. Like I said, the first video is 15 pages. The second video will probably be shorter, but the first video is 15 pages long. So yeah, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. Anywho, so I just want to say that. Anyways, I just saw, sorry, Ulysses the Pagan, you had a question. You said, your feelings on what if did to Captain Marvel like as a joke. Phase 4 needs to fix it. What are you talking about for Captain Marvel? Like, depowered her? Or, Ulysses the Pagan, what do you mean by that question? Because I'm not entirely sure what your question is on that one. I'm curious what you mean by that. Like, depower... Because I didn't have... There was a joke that I wasn't a particular fan of, where, like, Party Thor in What If said to Captain Marvel, is like, we have a word for women like you in my world. It's called, and it was like it wasn't like... It was... The implication was that he was going to call her the C word, the B word, like some sort of sexist word. But it wasn't entirely clear what that word was going to... What it was, and then it was undercut by something else. I didn't love that joke because of how they... I mean, let's just face it, like, the actress, why am I blanking on the name? She has a wonderful YouTube channel, but, Captain Marvel actress, Brie Larson. I mean, let's just face it, Brie Larson, she got a lot of shit flung at her, a lot of, like, from really nasty places, people insulting her, very sexist places and things like that. Just towards her because she was speaking out for allowing more diverse reporters to report on Captain Marvel. She spoke out about that, and also just being a woman in the head of a Marvel movie, which, oh, heaven forbid, one Marvel movie feature a woman as the lead. But she also got a lot of crap where she spoke out about wanting, you know, more reviewers, more critics to be more diverse in getting a chance to have early access to the movie, which is something that I think is, as someone who is a trans critic who doesn't often get a chance to be in the room with, people getting, like, there's channels smaller than me that get access to see things like No Time to Die or Dune early. Like, there are smaller channels that get to see those movies even though I review a bunch of movies on this and my other channel. The only thing I really get early is Star Trek stuff. But you know, as a trans critic, I guess I don't hit that mainstream, or their demographic, or they're just not aware of me. There's a million reasons for it. But anyway, Brie Larson got a lot of crap for that. And so that joke in What If kind of leaned into that, like, idea. And I know it wasn't intentional. I know they weren't, like, saying screw you, but it's like this sort of like, ha ha, let's make fun of her because she's a woman sort of thing. And it was just like, do you really want to lean into that type of humor for this character, considering all the crap that the character and the actress got for it? It just seemed like weird. And then for the depowering stuff, she definitely was depowered in that show, but so were a lot of people. Like, Thanos got depowered a bunch in that show. I think it's just the nature of the medium of animation, where it's just, like, weird to, like, once you get to a certain power level in the Marvel universe, like, it all becomes noise in a lot of sense. Like, after a certain point, like, the powers are really hard to define, and, like, who can beat up who. Like, how much stronger is Thanos to the Hulk? Or how much stronger is Thanos compared to Captain Marvel? And how much, like, Captain Marvel beat the crap out of Thanos in Avengers Endgame for a couple of seconds there. Like, she didn't win the fight, but she certainly got a few good hits in. Whereas the Hulk got destroyed by Thanos in, like, 2 seconds. So, like, does that mean Captain Marvel is super more powerful than the Hulk? I don't know. Kind of becomes noise after that point. So it's just sort of like, I care more for making the fights when it comes to power levels. At that point, it's kind of like, what I care about more is make the characters who are doing the punching interesting, and then do something interesting with the punching. I don't really care about what level of power they're at, just do something interesting with it. And that's sort of my big thing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. You said, Chloe, heart to you. Thank you so much for your second super chat. You said, also love the casting decision for Pinhead. Yes, we were talking about that earlier. That is really cool. It is awesome to see a trans woman, especially Jamie Clayton, who's an actress I love, playing Pinhead. Spoke about that a little bit earlier on the stream, so don't go too far into it. But yes, I'm very excited about that. Jabber says, interesting concept recently. I questioned if I was non-binary. I was born female, but have always been a tomboy. I only decided that I was female, but not to conform to the traditional female role. For sure. As I've always said, Jabber, like, maybe the way that you describe yourself as female, as a girl, but the way you present yourself is the same way that a non-binary person like a non-binary person presents themselves, right? Like, maybe you think exactly the same way, but the words that you use, you say you're a girl, the other person says they're non-binary. Even if you express yourself, think about yourself in the exact same way. The reason being is, like, number one, there's as many genders as there are people, and number two, like, words should just be there to be descriptive, to help us understand each other. No word could ever encapsulate the totality of a human being, and we use different words to describe different things and different experiences. So if non-binary is a word that does not fit you, it doesn't feel like it fits how you think about yourself, thinks about how you want other people to relate to you, thinks about how it describes how you feel about the world and things like that, that's totally fine. I think that we just sort of thinking about, like, how, you know, we succumb, or how we are aligned, not succumb is the wrong word, how we are aligned with certain gender expectations and not aligned with certain expectations. And also just be thinking about, like, how society is all made up and the points don't matter, and we should just proceed to try and be ourselves as best we can, and say screw you to people who try to limit us in terms of trying to be a specific thing or be a specific way. As long as we are not hurting other people, I don't think that it really matters in that sense. So Stephen Fenn, hard to you. You said, I've been fighting against gender expectations. I am a cis male, but I carry a messenger bag, ostensibly a purse. It's a small thing, but a start. Yeah, exactly. Like, hell yeah. Like, why should men not wear dresses? And then this is the thing that we were talking about years ago. I know with, I remember that moment where, like, Jaden Smith, like, wore a dress, and he got a lot of crap for that. And he's like, men wear dresses. Like, just because a man wears a dress does not mean that he is less masculine, less manly, or anything like that. Like, dresses are fun. Dresses feel nice. Dresses feel good. If you're a dude who wants to wear a dress, like, we make fun of this idea, but there's always this sort of, like, trans people are just men in dresses. It's like, no, trans women are women. But if you wish to be a man in a dress, that's cool too. There is nothing wrong with you being a man in a dress. And if you're a man that wants to carry a purse, that's cool too. Sometimes you can't fit everything in your damn pockets. And sometimes you just need a bag. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just functional. Why do we have to put this weird, like, oh, like, people act as if, like, you're being weird for carrying a messenger bag. It's like, oh, look at the girly person wearing a messenger bag. It's like, I don't know. I have stuff to carry. You're the one being weird by, like, gendering my decision to, like, think of, like, I want to be able to carry stuff easily. Like, you're the weird one. The people who go around gendering all this crap are the weird ones. We're just being like, hey, I want to carry stuff normally. I want to just exist. I want to wear the clothes that I want to wear. Like, you're the ones that putting weird expectations on that and, like, judging me in ways that you shouldn't judge somebody just for, like, wanting to carry a bag or wear clothing. It's just weird. Just weird. Weirds me out. Let me make sure that I am cool. Rolling on down through the super chats. Yes, I see people. I'm way behind on the super chats. Oh no, okay, I was just saying, where's the super chats? I know there's more. Where did they go? I'm just making sure I didn't miss any. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, Photon Empress, thank you so much. That is amazing. You are absolutely. I really appreciate that. Mwah. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You said the ultimate super chat amount to help with the ultimate surgery, life, and everything. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, 42. I got you. Life, the universe. I got you. That's the best. I love it. By the way, I've been recently, I listened, so for those of you who don't know, I listen to, like, audio dramas and stuff to help me sleep, and I recently listened to the Sandman audio drama, the season 2 from Audible, and got into reading, re-listening to, excuse me, is what I should say, the, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, original radio plays. The, like, old ones. Like, many people forget, like, a lot of people think that, like, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy started off with the books and then got adapted for TV and movies and all that stuff. It's like, no, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy started off as a radio show. The radio show was the original work, and then Douglas Adams wrote the books both after and then sometimes concurrently with the seasons that he was writing them. I think, like, he did the first season of it, and then he wrote the first book, and then the second season he wrote, like, the books concurrently along with the season. It was like there was like a bouncing back and forth of that. But yeah, no, I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm more a fan of the audio drama just because I love audio. I'm a huge fan of audio dramas just in general. I love audio dramas a lot. So I've been thinking, I've been listening to them. But the books are great too. The books are absolutely wonderful. So I really appreciate that. Oh, John Vinnels. Heart to you, thank you so much. John, I really appreciate that. You didn't have anything in your super chat, and you sent 2 of them, so I'm going to give you 2 extra huge hearts. John, I really appreciate you. Mwah. That is incredible. Ooh, got out of focus there. That was incredibly generous, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, John. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much. Everyone send some love to everyone. Please send some love to anyone, but since John didn't have any messages, I just want to send them some hearts. John, sending you hearts. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Super Femi says, "Are you expecting Die Another Day?" I'm assuming you mean No Time to Die, not Die Another Day, because Die Another Day is a completely different movie. Are you expecting No Time to Die to be a better popcorn flick than Venom: Let There Be Carnage? To be fair, I think Venom: Let There Be Carnage is a better popcorn flick than Die Another Day. Die Another Day is also a so bad it's good movie, but I think Venom: Let There Be Carnage has a little bit more fun. I expect No Time to Die is a vastly better movie than Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I mean, I did a review on Venom: Let There Be Carnage, but what's the best way to put this? Like, Venom: Let There Be Carnage is a movie that you want to laugh at, and the movie is aware that you want to laugh at it. Like, it's in on the joke. It's not like I'm putting anyone down. Like, the movie's kind of in on the joke. I think the movie also has problems even within that setup. Like, I do think, like, the villain is ultimately kind of superfluous and dumb, and there's a lot of noise, and some of the plotting is really weird, and I think, like, they had missed opportunities with really having Carnage go crazy. Like, it should have been a rated R movie and just have Carnage go balls the wall crazy in a really over-the-top fun way. But otherwise, like, the action sequences are just kind of blah. But that being said, the relationship dynamic between Venom and Eddie was fantastic. Absolutely hilarious. There was several moments where I was dying with laughter, and then, like, the cheesy moments in the movie where, like, everyone, like, every time someone says Carnage in the movie, there has to be, like, a pause for us that there's gonna be Carnage. It's just every single time someone said that, it was just like, oh god, this movie knows what it is, and I love it. So all that stuff is fun, and I really enjoyed the movie for that. That all being said, and also the after credit sequence has me very... I know some people are kind of down on the after credit sequence, like, oh no, I won't spoil what it is, but, like, they're all like, oh no, I don't like the implication of this. I'm like, I'm here for it. Do it. I'm here for everything that represents. That all being said, No Time to Die, I think, is actually a movie that has aspirations to be like a good like work of cinema, like has artistic aspirations. Not that Venom let there be. I always hate this nonsense where people saying like, well, Marvel movies aren't art, and like the Wonder Woman 1984, Patty Jenkins being like, I see so many movies out there that aren't trying to elevate or do anything. I'm like, you made Wonder Woman 1984, so don't talk to me about what's shovelware or not. But I think like all art has people that want to make something good and interesting. It may not try to be highfalutin cinema, but I think all pieces of art are there. Most pieces of art are there by people who are passionate about it, who wanted to make it. Now, whether or not it's fantastic or good is different, and whether or not we have so much art out there that it's hard to find stuff in the noise is also a different question. Like, the curation problem is definitely an issue. But that being said, I do think that more art getting made allows, like, more diverse art to be made, like more trans art, more LGBTQ art, more black art, more, you know, art from a bunch of different people and groups, which is awesome. Anyways, that's a sidetrack. What I think is that No Time to Die will be a great movie. I think it'll be, I think it'll be a really solid movie. I don't know if it'll be Skyfall level, but there have been times where I've gone into a movie where people are like, oh, it's not as good as these other ones. And I was like, oh, I leave it being like, no, that was actually the best one. So I'm excited to see it. As long as I go into it having a fun time, watch as a James Bond movie, feel like it resolves Daniel Craig's, arc as the character and his time in the character, I will be very happy and very pleased. If it elevates beyond that, like something like Skyfall did, I do think Skyfall elevated beyond seeing simple like blockbuster fun cinema. And again, that's not judging the rest of cinema, because I do think blockbuster fun cinema can be good art as well, just aiming for different things. But I do think it will elevate to like speak about something bigger, that something like that. Maybe. But we'll see. I'm excited. I do expect it to be nothing less than a good movie. Will it be great? I'll have to judge for myself tomorrow night when I go see it. But I do think it will be no less than good. That's my expectation anyways. J Lord, heart to you again. Thank you so much. You like to challenge me with your questions. Dune, like Star Wars, beg the question, why in the far future is sci-fi so often a feudalist mercantile society? Yes, I mean, well, the whole thing with Dune, the whole idea of Dune, for the most part, is to deconstruct the chosen one trope, right? There's this idea in fiction that there's a chosen one. And actually, Mia Mulder did a fantastic video on this, relating it to Elon Musk. Like, we have certain... we think of this idea of the chosen one in fiction, right? We have this idea of the chosen one in fiction. So many chosen ones, like, you have been destined to save the universe. And it kind of comes down to, like, this expectations, like, we want this person to save the world. And a lot of people seem to think, like, oh, that's just weird fictional stuff. But we tend to also do that in real life, too. We tend to ascribe certain aspects to people that, like, oh, they deserve, we should trust them to carry the torch forward and things like that. And Elon Musk is a great example of that. Is a man that there's such a bro was the wrong word. There's such a cult of personality around Elon Musk that is like, he will save us. He's going to usher in the Star Trek future. He is going to, like, bring us into the science age and something like that. There's, like, this sense of, like, deservedness and chosen oneness to him that people like Jeff Bezos or you know, this Bill Gates is a whole other issue, especially at this moment, but Bill Gates, like, they don't really have. But Elon Musk has that sort of cult of personality behind him. And it's wrong, because number one, Elon Musk is just a dude. He's also kind of a crappy dude, and we talked about this earlier, how power just, like, corrupts. He also has this whole thing where it's like, I hooked myself up by my bootstraps, when he actually, like most millionaires and billionaires, had a lot of backing and had a lot of money to start with in order to become a billionaire. But that's beside the point. Getting into Dune, what Dune is about is analyzing that whole idea of, like, who we expect, who we try to place in this role of chosen one, of who deserves to rule us, who deserves to meet the calls, and it tries to deconstruct it. And it tries to tear that down. Like, Paul Atreides is a character who, like, is a chosen one character, and yet he's a deeply flawed individual who makes mistakes. And yes, he has certain powers that make him the chosen one, but he also is fucked up and makes mistakes and does things. It also, like, kind of deconstructs the white savior narrative too. Like, Paul Atreides does not understand Fremen culture on that planet. Fremen, yeah, I think Fremen was the name of the people, I believe. It's been a hot minute since I read the book. So I think it's a really smart book in all of those ways. And I'm very excited to see the movie. Like, Denis Villeneuve is fantastic. My one worry with Denise with Dune is because they split the movie into two, that I've heard a lot of reviews of the movie being like, oh, the first movie comes across as just doing the Chosen One narrative, like playing it straight so that he can deconstruct it in the second movie. But the first movie is just playing that kind of straight so that it could be set up to deconstruct it later. And I worry that there will be people who see the first movie and take away, because that's how people do that. They like, there's a certain like not understanding that sort of thing. They'll see the first movie, like, this is what Dune's about. It's a Chosen One narrative. That's really badass and awesome. And will not see the second movie, or the second movie won't get made because the first one doesn't get enough money. And so the larger cultural takeaway about Dune will be, it's a Chosen One narrative, when the whole point of it is to deconstruct that. Because that happens a lot, and even movies that deconstruct it within the movie itself sometimes get aggrandized for that. Like, I talked about this with American History X. American History X was a hard look at neo-Nazis in the United States, and how they are awful and how they get people into their own worlds. But the movie also had showed these powerful scenes of him beating up people on the street and curb stomping people. And many neo-Nazi groups took that movie to be badass and awesome because it was aggrandizing them, and that was the message they took away with it. Even though, because let's just face it, there are sadly a lot of people who do not have the level of media literacy that some works require to be able to fully analyze them. And that's fine. You don't need to be super media literate. I'm not saying everyone needs to be super media literate. The problem is when then they sort of co-opt the entire meaning of a narrative. I mean, we see it a lot in in different areas and groups. People like... Oh, I won't get into it, but it's a whole other discussion because I would be calling out something specific. But it's a whole thing. Anyways, I saw some more super chats, so I just want to make sure I get to them. John Vinnels, thank you again for your next super chat. I really appreciate that. You've been really, really generous with super chats tonight, and I really, really appreciate that. You are amazing. You said, in addition to The Tempest, other stories for which I would love to see sapphic retellings, including The Odyssey. Ooh, that would be... Ooh. A sapphic Odyssey would be great. Oh, I would love that. Jane Eyre, It by Stephen King, and His Dark Materials. All of those. I'm particularly struck by the Odyssey for some reason. I like the idea of Odysseus being a girl trying to get back to her lover back in Ithaca, and going through all these trials and having to overcome the sirens as well to get back to his wife, and the suitors. I think you could do and say something really interesting with a sapphic retelling of the Odyssey. That's actually a really cool idea. I really like that, John Vinnels. It's actually a really cool idea worth exploring. I really like that one. Jane Eyre, It, and His Dark Materials I could totally see too. It would be interesting. I don't really know what it would add necessarily to it, but it would be interesting to see. It would be definitely interesting to see. Let's see. I got some more super chats here. Stephen Fenn, thank you again. Heart to you. You just said, have you listened to Sojourn? It's a sci-fi audio drama by the guy that makes YouTube videos channel Spake Talk. I have not. I will check it out. Sojourn. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that, Stephen Fenn. Thank you. I will check it out. It's on my list of things to listen to. And then you said Osiris Axe, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said howdy diddly Jessie, hope you're doing well. Heart to you, and live long and prosper. Thank you so much, Osiris Axe. Love to you. You are lovely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your super chat. Mwah, 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 mwah. You are too nice. And then Osiris Axe, you gave another super chat with a lovely little cutie doing the dance. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are lovely. Mwah. Thank you so much for your super chats. I really appreciate that. All right, I think I am all caught up on super chats. So, is there anything? We got about another 13 minutes or so. So, unless there's more super chats, is there anyone any more questions that people want to ask or anything like that? I learned so much when I watch your videos and streams. Oh, thank you so much, Adina. I really appreciate that. While we're here, since I have a minute while I'm looking for someone else to ask another question, I just want to make a quick little announcement within the middle of this. Tomorrow, there is a video going up, hopefully, that is a video that I'm very, very proud of. It's a video about the scariest episode of Star Trek. and talking about how it analyzes and looks at fear and how Star Trek thinks about fear. I think it's a really, really good video. I'm very, very proud of it. I put a lot of production into that video. Unfortunately, I have been wrestling with CBS Content ID this entire week. For those of you who don't know, CBS, or really any big movie production studio, has like Content IDs channels that like will automatically flag stuff. Thankfully, my videos are not getting flagged instantly, so I'm falling outside of their Content ID things that automatically flags videos. What is frustrating, and I get it every morning, is there's apparently someone who works at CBS, probably an intern, someone working low. I'm not blaming the whole company or whatever. I mean, honestly, I do blame the whole company because they probably told this poor intern, but I'm not blaming any specific person for being a ghoul. I'm blaming the company for being a ghoul a little bit. But every morning at 9 o'clock, I get an email that says someone manually reviewed your video and copyright claimed it. And so I have to put in a thing that says, you know, I'm trying to dispute it. It's very, very frustrating. And honestly, I would be fine if they claimed the video and they said that that they just took my monetization, which sometimes happens. They sometimes just take my monetization, whatever. I get frustrated when I work so hard on a video and they take my monetization, but I'd rather the video go up and go out. I'd rather my video go out than not at all. So if they take my money, fine. That's okay. But what frustrates me more is when they block the video, or is right now I've gotten to the video to the point where they block it on mobile, which is where a lot of people watch their videos. So I will be able to release it, but at least half the audience won't be able to see it because they won't be able to see it on mobile. So I'm getting kind of frustrated by that. I'm hoping I've uploaded it a few times and I'm fighting them constantly. So theoretically, what my hope and plan is the person who flags the videos flags them in the morning, at 9 o'clock in the morning every day. And so I'm planning on uploading if the latest one gets claimed again at that time, I'm going to upload it again and then release it then in sort of the later afternoon to the world. And hopefully hopefully it will at least not get flagged until Monday, which means like most views of videos do well for their first 3 days. So if I release it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that'll get most people to see the video that want to see it. And then Monday, it'll probably get flagged again, at which case I can dispute it, and hopefully it will win the dispute. And if not, well, at least it'll be up for everyone who doesn't watch it on the computer, or doesn't watch it on their phone. So we'll see. We'll see. It's very frustrating. That's my sort of thoughts on it. So basically, long story short, is look for that video at some point tomorrow afternoon. I know also Mia Mulder and Philosophy Tube are both releasing videos. Abigail Thorne's releasing videos tomorrow, which I'm very pumped about, and I don't want to overlap with them. So I'm going to try and do my videos, like I believe Philosophy Tube's videos goes until noon tomorrow. So I will probably upload the video to go up around noon tomorrow, like right after her video ends. So be on the lookout for my video around noon, and it'll be aiming to go up after Abigail Thorne's video, because I know a lot of my audience crosses over. I know her audience is much bigger than mine, and a lot of you I know are big fans of hers, so it's easier to just go after her. It's probably the best sort of idea. So that'll be the big thing. And I also know Mia Mulder's got a video going up tomorrow, which is I'm also very excited about, because Mia Mulder is also wonderful. But I see a few more super chats that I want to get to here. So I just give you all that so you all know what's going on with that video, in case you don't see my video at the normal time tomorrow, because it's gonna be weird. The video after that in 2 weeks will not have that problem, but tomorrow's will just be frustratingly annoying. Olivia Yeats says, heart to you. Thank you so much. The first time I saw one of your videos, you reminded me of a local theater actress I know. She's very talented and beautiful, and you look like her. Just wanted to tell you that. Have a lovely night. Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I love local actresses. I need to get back into acting. It's been a while. I want to do voice acting too. I've been starting to look into doing a reel. I'm gonna keep putting this out there. If anyone wants to cast me as a voice actor, and or does anyone knows tips or how best to put together a voice acting reel, I would very much appreciate it. Any advice on how to do voice acting and get into voice acting would be very much appreciated, because I want to do it. I love doing voice acting, and I would love to pursue it as a thing. So yeah, that's my hope. Sean Piper, hearts to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Thoughts on Shatner going to space via Jeff Bezos? Space, because they're not actually going to space. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I don't love Shatner. Shatner has kind of gone full boomer, in many ways. But, you know, I don't hate the man by any means, and certainly he has done a lot for inspiring people to go to space and space travel. So if, you know, he's certainly a person to deserve to go to space. I guess deserve being a word that I don't think anyone deserves anything, but, you know, it seems appropriate for him to go to space. Would have rather Leonard Nimoy or something like that, but say la vie. That being said, I mean, like, I guess I have less of a problem with Shatner going up there. I mean, I don't love the man, but I don't hate the man, and I guess it's cool. And you know what? I'm glad that you know, if a person can go to space on a billionaire's dime, sure, cool, I'm fine with it. I have more of an issue with with Bezos and the Virgin Galactic dude, whatever his name was, going to space, because it's just like, oh yay, billionaires who will exploit everybody going to space, and then start coming down and talking about how they want to bring advertisements to the stars. Yay, let's bring capitalism into our space future. Let's make the Expanse dystopia instead of the Star Trek utopia. It's like all these billionaires like keep talking about how they want to make the Star Trek future without realizing that their very way of life, their very existence, how they exist in the world is like antithetical to setting that up. Like, I just find it freaking hilarious. This is the thing that I always find hilarious is like Jeff Bezos was such a fan of the show The Expanse that he saved it from cancellation and brought it to the Amazon Prime. Like, he loved The Expanse and brought it to Amazon Prime. And yet he doesn't understand the basic critique of what The Expanse is that, like, the exploitation of workers in space is bad. I mean, the show is much more complicated than that. It's saying a lot more than just that. But, like, that is a part of it. That, like, the Belters are just an exploited worker class that have been exploited by Mars and Earth to just do work and brought into space. And it's like, how do you watch that show and just be like, oh, look, it's the shooty space stuff? I mean, it's the same people who, like Star Trek and yet are like, I hate trans people. You know? It's the same kind of mindset. Except for he's a billionaire. And so, it's just funny. So, yeah, you know what? Shatner going to space, fine. You know what? If a billionaire's paying for him to go to space, cool, sure. I have little to no problem with it. It's more just indicative. Like, I don't care. I didn't care about Bezos. Like, I didn't care even about Bezos going. It was more just the, like, symbolism of just, like, how much they do not understand. It's just more symbolic of their lack of awareness of the entire situation, which is frustrating. So there you go. Amanda Stevens, thank you so much. Heart to you. I appreciate you. Mwah. Sending you love, my lovely, lovely friend. I love your little kid. By the way, those little emojis were the cute little kitty faces. And, like, the people with the pom-coms are adorable. I love them so much. They're so cute. They're so cute. They're adorable. Let's see. Adrenaline, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you, you lovely, lovely human. I thank you so much. You said, Jessie, I know not everything is transphobic. Do you think maybe this is the repeated copyright claim? I mean, I would doubt it. I mean, it's possible. I mean, like I said, what this most likely is, honest to God, what this most likely is for the copyright claim is, like, I put up a video and, like, it doesn't immediately flag because it follows, like, CBS probably has, like, some rules in their system. Like, if a video uses a clip from a Star Trek episode that's longer than, like, 5 seconds, flag it immediately. So the video probably misses that, but because it does register some Star Trek type stuff, it flags it to CPS's system that says, like, oh, someone should look at this if they want to. And then because it happens at 9 in the morning, what my assumption is there's probably just some employee at CBS, probably an intern or someone low on the totem pole, whose job it is to every morning get up, go in that list and be like, yeah, that's content ID. Yeah, that's content ID. Yeah, that's content ID. And not really looking at the substance of the video, and just being like, clicking a thing, and just doing the job, which I don't blame them for. Like, do what you got to do. I blame more just the policy of the company to, like, not allow for something like that. That is more likely what is going on, because again, it happens at the same time every day. So I'm assuming it's just someone just starting off their day at work with a cup of coffee, just going through their emails and being like, yeah, content ID, yeah, content ID. It's possible it's transphobia, that it's like an active, like someone at CBS is like actively trying, like some employee at CBS is like, I hate trans people, I don't want them to talk about Star Trek. But I would be surprised at that, considering that CBS has like been very, especially in the Star Trek brand, been very trans inclusive. Not to say like companies are great, they're not, but they've at least been, you know, leaning in that direction. So I don't think so. It's possible, could be a worker that has it out for me or trans people, but I would be shocked if that was the case, honestly. Like, I'm not shocked by transphobia generally. In that situation, I would be more shocked that I would be fairly shocked if it turned out to be some form of transphobia. It's not unrealistic, but I think not likely. I think it's just someone doing their job, probably. Again, I don't blame them for it. It's probably just someone wanting to get through their day at work, but it's frustrating from my end. Just like, whatever. It is what it is, so. Oh yeah, Molly, I saw that you said you hadn't been at the Saturday streams because you wanted to play Life is Strange, but I'm looking forward to this Saturday. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, since we're going to wrap out the stream in a minute, Saturday, for the drunk stream this week, I'm going to be playing Alan Wake drunk because it's time for spooky season. It's spooky season. Like, it's a spooky season. I liked that. So we're going to be playing some spooky video games for the Drunk This Game on the weekends. We're going to start off with Alan Wake, and then we'll see how far it goes. We'll see if I want to keep playing Alan Wake on stream, see if people like it, see how popular it is in the stream. And if people like me playing Alan Wake, then I'll keep playing Alan Wake. If not, we can do more spooky stuff. I definitely want to play the new Outer Wilds DLC, because Outer Wilds is one of my favorite games of all time, and apparently the new DLC is also spooky. So that might be fun to play as well on stream, because Outer Wilds is a top five favorite game for me. Not top 10, top 5. And I'm excited to play the DLC. I bought it, but I haven't had time to play it yet, so I'm excited to play the Outer Wilds DLC. But this Saturday we will be playing Alan Wake, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to play it. Oh, hi, Jessie. Adin. Apologies if I say your name wrong, but Adin, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you. You are absolutely lovely. And Molly, I'm excited to see you here this weekend. It'll be good to have you back, because I've missed you. He said, hi, Jessie. You're honestly a gem. Thank you for everything. I recently watched the classic Doctor Who episode, City of Death. Your thoughts on it? Sadly, I am sorry that I can't answer your question more thoroughly, Adin, about that, because I have not watched any classic Doctor Who. I've seen every episode of modern era Doctor Who. And then I can tell you, I've seen the 5th Doctor. I have seen the 5 Doctor special. That's literally the only classic Who I've watched in my entire life. I've watched the 5 Doctor special and all of modern Who, and then a fair chunk of the Big Finish stuff, mostly the 9th Doctor, 10th Doctor, and 8th. I've listened to a lot of the 8th Doctor stuff from Big Finish. So sadly, I have not watched any of the older Doctor Who stuff. I do want to. I know this is going to be a project, but at some point, I do have every intention of sitting down and just starting at the beginning and watching all of Doctor Who. And I know literally no one recommends anyone do that, but I want to do it. So I will do it at some point, that I will sit down and begin watching all of the older Doctor Who stuff. But I'll be honest, I have not seen any older Doctor Who. Have not. I do want to do it. It will happen. But I will do it. And Ideen, I'm glad that yay, I got it right. I'm usually terrible at pronouncing someone's name, so I'm very pleased that I actually got it correct this time. So yeah, I do want to do that at some point. It's probably not that far off. I might do it in the near future, because right now I'm watching Squid Games, and then I'm finishing off Troll Hunters, and then after Troll Hunters, I might just start on Doctor Who. That might be my next project. I'm watching Troll Hunters because I want to see what the people who made Troll Hunters are making Star Trek Prodigy, which starts in a few weeks. So I want to kind of have a vague understanding of their style and how they write for Star Trek Prodigy, for those reviews and stuff. But yeah, that's it for this stream, everybody. I've got to go have some dinner and just relax for the evening. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate all of you being here. I send you all love for being here. Mwah. I really appreciate all of you in this entire community. I will, Catherine Ledbeth, most definitely. And don't forget, so tomorrow, just things to look out for. Tomorrow, there will be a new video, probably in the afternoon, just because of the annoying copyright claim, but that video will go up tomorrow. And then Saturday we'll be doing the Alan Wake drunk stream. And then there'll be a new video in 2 weeks after that. And also a Star Trek Lower Decks review. So that's the plan going forward. So tomorrow be ready for the video. Saturday be ready for Alan Wake live stream. And then I will see you all on those dates. Mwah. I love you all. And I will see you all hopefully on Saturday. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And Cappuccino Cross, I'm glad you're doing well. I love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah.